Welcome to the Buddhist Temple of Toledo. Please be seated and turn to page 2 in your liturgy books. Gata of Atonement, all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all evil karma ever committed by me since of old, on account of my beginningless greed, anger, and ignorance, born of my body, mouth, and thought. Now I atone for it all. Nikaya 3 Refuges. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Buddham Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Dhammam Saranam Gacchami. Sangham Saranam Gacchami. Sangham refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Dharma. I take refuge in Sangha. I take refuge in Sangha. The 5 remembrances. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. I am of the nature to grow old. There is no way to escape growing old. I am of the nature to have ill health. There is no way to escape having ill health. I am of the nature to die. There is no way to escape death. All that is dear to me and everyone I love are of the nature of change. There is no way to escape being separated from them. My deeds are my closest companions. I am the beneficiary of my deeds. My deeds are the ground on which I stand. This precious human life, rarely encountered, is easily lost. Now that I have life and opportunity, may I practice the Dharma wholeheartedly. Mahayana Refuge. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. In my heart, I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. May I liberate suffering beings and bring them to great joy. May the compassionate spirit of love grow within me, that I may actualize the great way. Invocation of the lineage. I give thanks for the guidance of my teachers, for the lineage of teachers before them. I give thanks and offerings for their devoted practice of generosity, moral discipline, patience, joyful effort, concentration, wisdom, skillful means, unshakable vow, spiritual powers, and awakened awareness for my benefit. May their years of life be lengthened. May their vows be completely realized. And may I cultivate these perfections with their guidance. 7 practices of the Bodhisattva. I bow down in body, speech, and mind. I offer the best I have to give, both real and imagined, to fill the space between us. I regret and purify all transgressions. I rejoice in all virtues. I request you to remain until total enlightenment. I request wise and compassionate guidance. I dedicate my merit for the sake of all beings. Generating love and compassion. May all sentient beings be free from clinging and hatred. Being close to some and distant from others, how wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from clinging and hatred. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness in the causes of happiness. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them happiness in the causes of happiness. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will free them from suffering and the causes of suffering. Bless me to accomplish this. May all sentient beings have the joy that has never known suffering. May they be free from clinging, hatred, jealousy, miserliness, doubt, pride, wrong view, ignorance, and dualistic thoughts. How wonderful it would be. May this be accomplished. I will bring them to this state. Bless me to accomplish this. Please rise for the Heart Sutra, found on page 4. Great Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva practicing deep Prajna Paramita clearly saw that all 5 skandhas are empty, transforming all suffering and distress. Shariputra form is no other than emptiness, emptiness no other than form. Form is exactly emptiness, emptiness exactly form. Sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness are also like this. Shariputra, all things are essentially empty, not born, not destroyed, not stained, not pure, without loss, without gain. Therefore, in emptiness there is no form, no sensation, perception, mental reaction, consciousness, no eye, ear, nose, tongue, body, mind, no color, sound, smell, taste, touch, object of thought, no seeing, and so on, to no thinking, no ignorance, and also no ending of ignorance, and so on, to no old age and death, and also no cessation, hath no wisdom and no attainment, since there is nothing to attain. The Bodhisattva lives by prajna paramita, with no hindrance in the mind, no hindrance, and therefore no fear, far beyond delusive thinking. Right here is nirvana. All Buddhas of past, present, and future live by prajna paramita, attaining anuttara samyak sambodhi. Therefore know that prajna paramita is the great sacred mantra, the great vivid mantra, the unsurpassed mantra, the supreme mantra, which completely removes all suffering. This is truth, not mere formality. Therefore set forth the prajna paramita mantra, set forth this mantra and proclaim: Gate gate para, gate parasam, gate bodhisvaha, gate gate para, gate parasam, gate bodhisvaha, gate gate para, gate parasam, gate bodhisvaha. Infinite realms of light and dark convey the Buddha mind. All that is and we ourselves come forth in perfect harmony. We offer this sincere and devoted practice for the many beings of the six worlds and dedicate it in grateful thanks to the strength and sound practice of the great Heartland Sangha and its teachers. May our virtuous actions be clear from all interferences, and may our vows be fully realized. We especially dedicate these merits to all those who suffer as a result of injustices, calamity, cruelty, and war. To Ryotan, Emily, Jesse, Shonen, Chrissy, Bill, Griffin, Chris, John, Charles, Stephen, Reverend Eugen, Laverne, Lorraine, Darcy, Jack, Roger, Soke, Corin, Evan, and Sarah. May they have peace and healing. And to Carl, Ariel, Nova, Bruce, Bridget, and Emily at the time of their death. And to those we hold in the silence of our hearts, as well as those whose names we now voice aloud. May we live in perfect peace with Buddha Dharma, and may we realize the Buddha way together. All Buddhas throughout space and time, all honor grammar school teachers and students are dismissed. Everyone else, please prepare for Zazen. now recite the Sangha Covenant, found on page 8 of your liturgy books. We, the Daishin Gokoji Sangha, with respect for the worth and dignity of each person, with wonder at the wisdom and compassion we seek to cultivate by practice, and with deep gratitude for the teachers of this lineage and our connection to one another, covenant to support each other by upholding the precepts of doing no harm, practicing good, and actualizing good for others. Please be seated. Sit comfortably so you can make eye contact with the teacher. And in a moment, we'll recite the Gata on opening the sutra, also found on page 8. Gata on opening the sutra.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you very much for choosing to be here. Please make sure you're sitting in a way that you're comfortable in the body, and also we can see each other. Now, we're going to continue on with the Lankavatara teachings as we have been. And, tuning in this week, a recap from last season's episode. Okay. So we're into this bit in the chapter on the Tathagata. Towards the end of things, we're rounding what bend there is here. And the question comes, Blessed One, are the Tathagatas permanent or impermanent? Okay, classic kind of philosophical hook. And last week we spent some time looking at noting first that the Buddha responds to say, well, in this sense, think this way. In this sense, think this way. right? And he said, last time the sutra started off with, well, in the sense of, if you lump the Tathagata in with the creator as being some permanent thing, this would be not correct. If you lump the Tathagata in with the created, then this would be impermanent, and this would be not correct. Therefore, in the sense of creator, created, don't consider the Tathagata to be either permanent nor impermanence beyond any of this stuff. And in the other sense, the sutra went on to say that in the sense that there's no such thing, let's say that the terms of being or non-being do not apply to pug feathers, or sky flowers, or silent shouts. Then in the same way, the terms being and non-being do not apply to pug antlers or pug feathers, to pig wings. They don't apply to Tathagata. So in that sense, no. But now we turn the page, right? We get something different. So here we go. Brace. However, the Buddha continued, there is another sense in which the Tathagatas may be said to be permanent. What? Isn't like impermanence like a thing? Well, he just gave examples of impermanent. Don't apply permanent, don't think that way. But there's another sense in which the Tathagatas may be said to be permanent. Interesting. Transcendental intelligence rising with the attainment of enlightenment is of a permanent nature. I have spoken. Transcendental intelligence rising with the attainment of enlightenment is of a permanent nature. Now, it goes on, and we will too, but let's pause for a second, okay? Transcendental intelligence, watch out, careful now, easy does it, okay? Transcendental, it's a tricky word. First of all, it's in our culture, many would associate it with the teachings of the Maharishi and the Beatles and, lovely music, interesting person. That's not what's being talked about here, okay? Respect to those who deserve it, but no, that's not. This transcending, okay, if you take the transcending to mean somehow going beyond this fallen material plane, say, I wish to transcend this daily life of mine. I wish to transcend the material in favor of the spiritual. This is not the sense in which this is meant here. Okay, and that's what most people will immediately think, right? Transcend, to go beyond and transcend what? Look, whether you were raised Christian or not, raised theistic or not, the culture that we all kind of inhabit has this kind of an idea somewhere, somehow, that everything is sinful or fallen, and there's some heaven elsewhere where everything's perfect. And so you need to transcend this mortal plane, say, and get to the spiritual one, something like this, okay? That is not anywhere near what's being meant in this use of the term, okay? Transcend here is referring to something very specific. It's referring to transcending the mind's system, the mind system's intellect, transcending that which the intellect can grasp and appropriate and categorize. That, transcends that. Way beyond that. As lovely as my puck is, trigonometry, algebra, and calculus are not on the table for dear Dizzy, okay? It's something that's just transcendently beyond his intellect's ability to comprehend. No shade on the pug, but that's how it is, okay? So it's something like this. When this sutra uses this word, the English, actually I should say Dwight, okay, Goddard in the 30s chose the word transcendental to use this here. He uses other words elsewise. But this transcendental intelligence, this is talking about an intelligence beyond your intellect's ability to comprehend. That is what's being meant here, okay? So there is another sense in which the Tathagata means suchness, thusness, true realityness, okay? There is a sense in which the Buddha may be said to be permanent. Buddha nature may be said to be permanent. You may be said to be permanent in this sense. Remember, this is all about you. It's all about you, baby. It always has been, and you were right. It is all about you. All right. So there is a sense in which the Tathagatas, you, may be said to be permanent. Transcendental intelligence, meaning the intelligence beyond the intellect. Okay? The divine intelligence, if you like the word. If that gives you hives, chuck it. Buddha intelligence. Here, transcendental intelligence, rising with the attainment of enlightenment. Okay, enlightenment does not come from outside. Okay, we're not transcending daily life, hoping to get some. The alien will come and rescue us somehow, or something. You know, the archangel will come down and give us the clue we need, or something like this, right? It's the intelligence is right here, right? This transcendental intelligence rising with the attainment of enlightenment. The enlightenment means bringing to light that which already is. It's all there. You just turn the lights on and you can see it. But it was there before the lights were on. They're no more or less there. Whether you see it or not makes a big difference for you and everyone else that you come in contact with. But what's in the room is still what's in the room. Nothing is added when enlightenment occurs. Nothing is removed before enlightenment is realized. And yet, the realization of this awakening makes all the difference. So, there is another sense in which the Tathagatas may be said to be permanent. Transcendental intelligence, rising with the attainment of enlightenment, with awakening, is of a permanent nature. This truth essence, and that's one word, truth essence, which is discoverable in the enlightenment of all who are enlightened, is realizable as the regulative and sustaining principle of reality which forever abides. So the dude does abide after all. Okay, a little thick language. Let's open that up for a little get the juice out of it. Okay, this truth essence. Okay, truth essence. It's again the English language. We have this. Who would know? But it's got a structure to it that has certain assumptions. Okay, and the English language itself only allows you to think in the way that the language is constructed. Is anyone here bilingual, like fluently able to speak in more than one language? Oh no, okay, yeah, well, there, okay. So other languages have different assumptions built into them. Okay, I've flirted with Japanese language enough to know that I can't speak it, but I know something of it. Okay, and part of why it's such an inscrutable way to communicate, for me anyway, is partly I'm not linguistically intelligent that way, but partly the operating system is completely different. Okay, so this truth essence, a lot of times in the sutra, wisely these words are put together, and we tend to think of like one describing the other or categorizing the other. It's a good day, so it's a good 24 hours, not a good month or a good week. It's a good day as opposed to a bad year, for example. So the language itself, we think in slots, whether we know it or not. I think I would assert this as fairly a human experience, but it's particularly true in English, okay? So, truth, essence. Essence, truth. Truth, truth, essence, essence. There's something being pointed to in this kind of dual word, truth, essence. This truth, essence, which is the transcendental intelligence, is discoverable. You can discover it. You can't create it. You're sure as hell not going to understand it. You don't add it, but you can discover it. It's there. It's there. In fact, it's here. Where is there anyway? Here. And it is discoverable. It's a great irony, a great challenge, actually. It's a barrier that the very thing that brings a lot of folks in keeps them from actually getting a taste. Not all, but many come into this tradition through some kind of study. You know, the stack of books, maybe the podcast. There are some good ones. But eventually, hopefully sooner than later, you have to put the books down and let the podcast be. And it's not a matter of feeding more Buddhist words into your intelligence and that eventually it'll add up to enlightenment. It does not work this way. It never has. It never will. Okay? This truth essence is discoverable in the enlightenment of all who are enlightened. You don't figure it out. It truly is a journey of discovery. That's not a bad way to describe the path. In fact, the stages of Zen training is depicted in the Oxherding pictures. Perhaps you've noticed them in our, not refectory, hangout space there, right? It's a journey, man. It's talking about stages of a journey of growth and development and discovery, really, is what it is. And there is a real journey there. And the fact is, if you stay cozy in the hobbit hole, you're not going on the journey. The journey is challenging and difficulty, and there are dragons and, smells and, unsuitable food, and there's not a soft bed, and, that's the worst of all of them, honestly. But those difficulties are exactly right. Those are exactly what you need to do this discovery. If you understand how to practice these things. We were discussing this in the Jukai class this morning, and those who are discerning receiving the Bodhisattva precepts. This business about being able to relate to difficulties correctly. Everybody likes to think about what their goal and what they're going to achieve and stuff, and I'll tell you, the better half of that is knowing how to handle when it does not go the way you expect or want. That's where the work actually hits. Very rarely, if ever, does one set an intention and just get it. Maybe I'd like lunch, okay. But on deep things, really important things like your life and your death and your realization. Yeah, there's a journey here. And you can expect and count on the fact that you will, if you're actually doing this, you will encounter things that need encountering. Because just like awakening is there, whether you realize it or not, so are those difficulties. Yes, they are. Oh, yes, they are. And the best thing you can do is encounter those things. Why? So that you can liberate them. Okay? The last thing you want is some real difficult problem that you do not realize is there when it is there. That's far spookier than turning the lights on and looking at this thing you'd really rather not look at. Please look. and you have to be objective, get your ego out of it. Please leave your wishful thinking somewhere over the stars. Come put your feet on the ground and keep your head upright. But really taste what's in that spoon. Really feel what's true. Pleasant or unpleasant is not the currency of exchange here. Honest or not, authentic or not, sincere or not, these are the qualities of the practicing being. This truth essence, which is discoverable in the awakening of all who come to enlightenment. Every being throughout space and time that has ever come to enlightenment, Anuttara Samyak Sambodhi, the full deal, has come to exactly the same awakening. Precisely the same, no different at all. Why? Because everyone, everything is of this same nature. Some realize it, some don't. But what's realized is exactly the same. Now, this is really interesting. It's realizable as the regulative and sustaining principle of reality, which forever abides. This is interesting because now it starts to turn a little bit. We're starting to feel something of a function. There's a function happening here. It's not just this pure beingness. There's now something starting to turn a little. There's a function happening. Regulation. It says regulative. I don't know how to say it right. Regulative? Regulative? Regulatingly? I don't know. But it's got this regulation quality, regulating things. Not a dictatorship. We're talking about karma, cause and effect. This, that. The regulative and the sustaining. This transcendental intelligence is the ground of being, the hidden ground of love itself. It is the ground from which all things sprout and are expressions of and are still intimately one with. Now as a flower, now as a rock, now as a planet, now as a sun, now as empty space, now as a Homo sapien. Now as you. What is you? I see the light in my eyes. I'm glad that flickering bulb got tended to. I hear the birds. I love the sound of spring, don't you? I smell lunch coming along. I remember the smell of the training when it used to be a curious mix of oatmeal, pine, sandalwood, incense, and sweat. Anyway, let's get back. Speaking of who are you? This truth essence, one thing, which is discoverable, not creatable. You don't add it. It's not a module that you add to your kit. It's not a Buddhist extension pack. It sounds funny, but actually people sometimes come in and they don't maybe know, or maybe they do, but actually thinking like, oh, I'd like to add this badge to my little sash, you know. This is cool. I'll add the Zen patch to my list of awesomenesses that I can tout around, you know. That fades pretty quickly once we get into actual Zen practice. it's difficult, and also nobody cares. So, it doesn't, both of them being an advantage. So the truth essence, which is discoverable in the enlightenment of all who are enlightened, is realizable as the regulative and sustaining principle. The principle of reality. The precept of reality. The law of reality. This is serious stuff. Wouldn't it be nice if you could realize the precept of reality? Wouldn't it be wonderful if you could just effortlessly express your life in a way that's in accord with the law of reality, the truth of things, the heart of things? This does not require you to be someone else. This does not require some ecstatic peak experience. There's no exogenous molecule you need to ingest to finally count. It's not about karate chopping through enough bricks and then now you can do it. No. It's something far more intimate. This precept of reality, this hidden ground of truth. Not so hidden as it turns out, once you see it. And this abides forever. It's so funny because, one of the great difficulties is the mind system and the ego wants to persist forever, right? I want my name on a building, I want a solid statue, I want a massive endowment, I don't know, whatever. Tons of kids, I don't know, pick your thing. But that's not what we're talking about. This is not the ego's persisting itself against change. No. And thank goodness. But the real permanent you is beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Isn't it nice to hear the sound of the kids in the Zendo? Isn't that just great? This sustaining principle of reality forever abides. But what if my candidate doesn't win the election? Well, you're in for some unpleasantness, but reality abides. What if war comes? Well, it's going to be rough, maybe worse than rough. But even on the worst day, even, for example, say we create a utopian society with no trouble and a complete access to resources and equanimity, and people give up this ridiculous obsession with acquiring more and more from others and instead attain depths of mind and art and feeling and exploration. But guess what? The sun is still going to blow up. The earth will be utterly decimated. What about that day? Well, the dude abides. Reality, the fundamental ground of reality abides perfectly. That is some place you can really find refuge. I take refuge in Buddha. What does this mean? Does this mean Buddha save me? Buddha, I want $1 million, please. New car, Buddha, please, you can make for me. Buddha, can you help my visceral fat count become acceptable? No, you have to do that. Oh. No, true refuge in Buddha, realize yourself as this ground of being. And you're not manufacturing it. It's not wishful thinking. I mean, there's a wishful thinking version of it, but I won't put up with it, and you shouldn't either. The real deal is not a series of wishful feelings and thoughts buffered by intellectual constructs that the ego appropriates in the name of selfhood. No. That's why there's some intelligence to the approach of not giving much in the way of teachings and simply sit. Perhaps you don't know, but the vast majority of what happens at a sesshin, the intensive Zen training environment, is you sitting there. One is not entertained with displays of Buddhist whatever. Yeah, there's a talk. You meet with a teacher. But that is not what it's about. Those might help or hinder what it's about. What it's about is you realizing yourself. The pilgrimage has nothing to do with getting your body over to the Himalayas or whatever sacred space you think. You are the sacred space. The pilgrimage is this way, in. And then enjoy, please. There are many beautiful places to go. Enjoy them, if you can. But don't be fooled. You go on some great expensive trip to some beautiful place, expecting to have a life transformation experience. You may or may not. But that's not awakening. Unless it happens to be that your causes and conditions require that, and then that's fine. But the awakening itself, you'll see, has nothing to do with that sacred space. The transcendental intelligence attained intuitively by the Tathagatas, by their realization of noble wisdom, is a realization of their own self-nature. In this sense, the Tathagatas are permanent. This intuitive realization, this is not, there are some things that our intuitions are really bad at, like picking the stock or, I'm horrible in directions. But this intuitively, this means your dharma eye. There is an aspect of intelligence which is not contained by your intellect. In this we use the word intuitive, or your dharma eye. This dharma eye sees directly this true nature, and the intellect can then catch up. The intellect itself is it too, after all. The eternal unthinkable of the Tathagatas is the suchness of noble wisdom realized within themselves. It is both eternal and beyond thought. This is a pretty heavy-hitting sutra, right? Eternal unthinkable. Again, this is two English words kind of like pushed together with a little hyphen. It's pointing to one concept. This is now an advantage where the character way of communicating actually has a lot of advantages here, because you can put a character together, kind of imagine like a hieroglyph, it's a picture, or like an emoji. Like there's a little, you text, you put the little emoji. The emoji is an image that carries a feeling to it. And it helps hopefully to clarify what the words maybe don't. The emoji that goes like this, or something like this. So this eternal unthinkable, there's a character for that. There's a symbol for that. Eternal unthinkable. It's crude to try to get there with language, but we'll go for it. Eternal, unthinkable, unthinkable, eternal. The eternal unthinkable. Who do you say that I am? Eternal unthinkable. And I'm ready for lunch. The eternal unthinkable of the Tathagatas is the suchness. Tathagatas is the Buddhas, the awakened ones, right? You. Well, potentially. The eternal unthinkable of the Tathagatas is the suchness of noble wisdom realized within themselves. The discovery is not some jewel out there somewhere in a cave you have to go and get. You are the jewel. That's what has to be realized. You know, in many of the archetypal arcs of story, you know, the little protagonist has to get a magic item or something that'll like open the gate or do the thing or slay the dragon or what all. But really, at the end of the journey, you realize you never needed the thing. It was all kind of a trick. You know, it's not the wand, it's the wielder. Okay, it's not the magic sword, it's the mind of the hero, the courage, whatever. So it's like this. Those stories are compelling because they're an echo of the truth. It is realized within yourself. It is both eternal and beyond thought. This actually is a great relief. When your intellect still thinks it has to figure it out, and it actually can't, but the ego won't accept that that's the case. It's like you've got this really nice car and your foot's on the gas and the brake at the same time, and you think the answer is to push harder. This is not helping. Well, let me do some more. Not working more. You know? Okay, all right, you know? If that's the space somebody's in, there's a perfect place to do it. It's called Zazen. Go for it. Knock yourself out. Really. And, you know, yeah, maybe somebody I know really well had to do that. And maybe a very wise teacher with much more experience than I had at the time let me go ahead and do that. Because if I don't actually push that car to the breaking point and see what happens for myself, I'll always believe I could have pushed harder and it would have worked. Not true. That something else has to happen altogether. It's got nothing to do with gas and brake. So it's okay. As long as you're in connection with lineage and you're getting guidance from the real thing, if that needs to play out, go ahead and let it. You have to honor your actual process, but it's good for you to have a sense of this. The sutra continues. It confirms the idea of a cause and yet is beyond existence and non-existence. Because it is the exalted state of noble wisdom, it has its own character. Because it is the cause of highest reality, it is its own causation. This is very important to try to tune into. I know it's a bit much, but the ground of being causes itself. That's what the sutra says. It is the cause of highest reality. It is its own causation. There's nothing outside it creating it from somewhere else. There's no place to stand outside of it and point to it. Never has been. not necessary. Its eternality is not derived from reasonings based on exertions of being or non-being, nor of eternality or eternality. Being classed under the same heading as space, cessation, nirvana, it's eternal. Because it has nothing to do with existence and non-existence, it is not a creator. And again, whether or not you grew up in a formal system of thought like this, you have to understand that since Plato's cave, and if not before, this idea that there's some actual reality there that you perceive a shadow of, and there's this permanent truth you have to find, be careful about it. But turns out it's not entirely wrong, is it? It has nothing to do with creation, nor with being or non-being, but is only revealed as the exalted state of noble wisdom. It is truly eternal. Now, centuries later, another realized master would put their particular take on it. Master Hongji's record from the acupuncture needle of Zazen. We'll close with this. He says, the field of bright spirit is an ancient wilderness that does not change. With boundless eagerness, wander around this immaculate, wide plain. The drifting clouds embrace the mountain, and the family wind is relaxed and simple. The autumn waters display the moon in its pure brightness. Directly arriving here, you will be able to recognize the mind-ground Dharma field that is the root source of the 10,000 forms germinating with unwithered fertility. These flowers and leaves are the whole cosmos. So we are told that a single seed is itself an uncultivated field. Do not weed out the shoots, and the self will flower. The field of bright spirit, the ground of being, which is you, dear one. The field of bright spirit is an ancient wilderness that does not change. With boundless eagerness, wander around in this immaculate wide plain, playing freely and self-fulfilling and other-fulfilling samadhi for the sake of all beings throughout space and time. May it be so.
Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Beings are numberless. I vow to free them. Delusions are inexhaustible. I vow to end them. Dharma gates are boundless. I vow to enter them. The Buddha way is unsurpassable. I vow to embody it. Thank you, everyone, for being here.